AshSaidIt.com, baby babies, and welcome to Ash Said It Daily. This is my daily podcast, and I do a little bit of everything on here. So if I'm not doing daily motivation, I am talking about America's favorite guilty pleasure, how to get away with murder, darlings. Yes, yes. And I am joined by my fun and vivacious personality, TV influencer, Ro. What's going on, Ro?
Hey, not much. How you?
Hey, I'm doing good. I'm doing better now that we're one episode closer to finding out who's under the sheet.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so this week's episode was entitled No More Blood. No More Blood. And it was pretty eye-opening. I'll say that it definitely opened up the gate for a lot more things to happen between now and that next episode, being the winter finale. So, what was your take on this episode, Ro?
Well, it was a pretty interesting episode. It started off the beginning with Wes getting a subpoena because remember from the last episode, he totally lied about seeing Charles Mahoney, but he knows that guy was not there. And so he's needing help for that. So Bonnie asks Frank for help. So whenever Frank gets involved, it's a whole other thing.
Yeah, that was
Frank,
crazy.
yeah, definitely. And of course Wes was also questioning Laurel. I guess he was getting kind of. I don't want to say jealous, but just a little like, oh, you probably hung out with Frank, didn't you? She's like, no, I'm with you now. I totally hate them as a couple. But
Well, I
like,
mean, I think that he has reason to. I don't necessarily like them as a couple either,
yeah,
but yeah, she was involved with Frank for like what, 2 seasons?
yeah, was it
In the
that long?
beginning, yeah, probably in the beginning of this season too. Before he started, going a little woo, getting a little out there. I would think that he has a right to be suspicious and be jealous, and the fact that Frank spent the night at her house and she didn't fully tell Wes all of the truth.
Yeah,
Because he asked, did you tell him about us or whatever? And she's like, oh, I don't care who knows or whatever. You didn't answer the question, though. You didn't answer that question.
well, the show everybody's lying to everybody, so it's just like, anybody ever be truthful?
Basically, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely a good
And
point.
next up, the president of the school. We found out she was getting divorce papers, and the kind of husband wanted like the kid and stuff, and she pleaded guilty, so she can keep her record sealed. I did kind of wonder about that. I'm like, she got all these issues and stuff, but somehow she's still president of this big time school. So
Yeah,
it made sense that she had the paper sealed.
because I remember in the last episode, she told Annalise, "Oh, I don't need that attorney because me and whatever his name was, me and him, we're gonna work it out and blah blah blah." She's like, "Look, take this lady number. I'm trying to tell you something, girl. I'm trying to help you out. Take this lady number and see what she can possibly do for you." So it's a good thing that she at least got that wheel turning with that, because I was straight up like, okay, how is, what's going to happen with this? And now that him serving her papers doesn't surprise me terribly.
Yeah,
But
were you a little surprised she was asking Annalise for advice?
I think to an extent, because the whole alcohol anonymous thing,
Yeah.
I think that that has kind of leveled Annalise for her. Because I think
Right.
before, everybody just sees Annalise as, oh, I don't want to say the B word, but, they're like, oh, she's just this angry chick. She thinks she's better than everyone. She's got everything figured out. And when she realized that Annalise actually has a problem and she's going to AA to try to, solve her issues, I think that kind of humanized her as somebody that, oh, wow, well, Annalise is kind of like me. She doesn't have it as together as people may think. So I think that
Right.
that kind of was the stepping stone of her viewing Annalise differently. Now, if that whole situation hadn't happened, I don't think that she would have been as forthcoming with Annalise. And, they've had their little conversations here and there because I think that her sobriety was like over a year. She's been clean for like a year, something like that.
Yeah, year.
And so Annalise is just starting, so she kind of knows some of the phases that people that are just starting go through. They snappy at folks and snacking on everything and things of that nature. So I think that she kind of, I won't say fully understands where Annalise is coming from and where she's going, but I think that she can empathize with her because she's been there before. And so I think that's it. But
it is interesting that Annalise doesn't have a sponsor. Like, shouldn't they have like sponsors for AA?
I don't know how that works, seeing as I've never gone. Never really had that problem. But it basically seems like the president has kind of been like her surrogate, sort of.
Yeah, surrogate sponsor. But it's like she needs help too. So it's like, even though she has been clean for like a year, she still might see that bottle,
Yeah, and I mean, the thing about it is the sponsors, they're usually people that were also addicts as well. They just figured out a way of kind of, staying on track with things. So I don't think that it's necessarily like they need like a certain person to hire them on and make them, make them well again or whatever the case is. But I think the president has somewhat stepped in kind of in that role, kind of indirectly. Like, it hasn't been said, oh, you're my sponsor. But I think that she was kind of hinting to that for Annalise earlier on, too, when she was like, if you ever want to talk or whatever. And I was like, look, I don't talk. I ain't got no friends. That was basically. She was like, yeah, I don't know nothing to talk to nobody. So I think that indirectly, I think that they are kind of bonded now, and they are somewhat like friends almost, even though they haven't really necessarily said it. They care about each other because of the journey that they're on. That's what my take is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear you. So it looks like Thomas sent Oliver some second chance flowers. Like, I guess he just felt like, oh, maybe I can be with this guy. But I'm like, you already like said, oh, I don't want to be with him. I mean, remember Thomas from the last episode? He was the guy Oliver went with like couple of dates. But Oliver didn't seem very interested. I mean, he was back with Connor anyways. So.
Well, I think that with that, I think he didn't really give the guy the opportunity to figure out if he wanted to deal with him or not. So he kind of played himself on that because he should have told him way before they were getting naked that, what his status was. So I blame him for that. He didn't give the guy time enough. And maybe he and the guy really did have a connection. The guy started thinking, days later, you know what? I really did like that guy. I know that he's HIV positive, but maybe he's someone that I could possibly build something with or have something with. So I think that mostly because I just, him sending him, for somebody that you don't care about or whatever, you're not going to send them flowers and, be trying to call them and text them all the time and stuff. So I think that Thomas may have genuinely just liked him and, maybe he wants to see where they could possibly go with things.
Yeah, I definitely think so.
Yeah.
So when the group heard about Wes, Michaela and Connor were like, you're on your own. But then Asher actually decided to stay and help them out. I was a bit surprised about that. I mean, Asher hasn't really been his old man, He's either the really rich kid or he's Michaela's boyfriend eventually. Now he is. But I thought that was pretty cool that he decided to stay and help out Wes, Wes does, like, everything that in this show.
Yeah, Wes has definitely turned the tables on us a bit. As we as we close off last week, we came to the conclusion that Wes was the betrayer. And in the beginning of this episode, not Wes, Annalise was in her cell, her holding cell with Bonnie. And she said, she was just, she just looked really tired and just kind of just through with life. And she's like, yeah, all they would tell me, all the DA and stuff would tell me was somebody leaked information that pins me to these charges. And I forgot what the charges were. First degree murder and arson or something something along those lines. It was a couple charges. And she
Yeah.
kind of looks over at Bonnie and she's like, "Was it you? Did you turn me in?" And Bonnie's looking like, "Bitch, I ain't turn you in. What I'm saying? You're basically like a mother figure to me." She's like, "Look me in the face, Bonnie. Look me in the face. Tell me you didn't do it." And Bonnie's like, "It wasn't me. I didn't turn you in." And so in that moment, you just kind of see Annalise kind of give up. Like in her face, she's just like, I'm done. They're gonna get me on these charges. They have something solid on me. I don't even know what it is or where it came from, and they're gonna put me away. They're gonna put me away. And then Bonnie kind of reassures her and is like, "No, Annalise. We're gonna figure out who did it, and I'm gonna, we're gonna take care of this, and everything's gonna be okay. Don't give up. Don't worry." But this is the first time ever in this whole series where Annalise is like really like full of despair, and I don't know. It's not looking good. It's not looking good.
Yeah, it's definitely not looking good.
Mm-mm.
So can you believe that the lady that gave Frank the money to basically screw over Annalise, can't believe that she's like back in the picture? That was really interesting how they really brought her back into the picture.
Well, it looks like she has, she's had a lot of ties with that family. That's what it's like to me.
Yeah, definitely had ties with the family of some sort. So, and it was pretty crazy how Maggie, how she kind of showed up and she saw Wes and Laurel. Well, if you could have just broken up with me because you want to be with her, you could have just told me. Because I remember at one point she was like, "Do you have a thing for Laurel?" And he was like, No, it's just you. You're the only thing I love." And so, like, she totally foresaw it. But he totally just her on like a fool.
Yeah, it was just, it was just like, oh, Maggie, poor thing, because she, I don't know. I know you didn't like her either. Who do you like for Wes? You don't like him with nobody.
Because he's pure evil.
You don't like him with nobody. Every time he get with somebody, you don't like them girls. I don't know.
Because they always pit him with the idiots. That's why. Well, nothing was wrong with Maggie. She was just boring. That's why. I was like, she's just a boring pre-med student. Nothing like going on with her. Let her kill somebody or something. Goodness.
No, but I mean, I think that's what they wanted to kind of show. Look, this girl has everything. She's the perfect match for him, and he's not really interested. He wants that.
For him?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the danger factor of Laurel and was it Rebecca? These girls that are like he always likes these edgy bad girls, and Maggie was like the complete opposite.
Yeah, that was like his first kind of normal chick, but I guess he was just too normal for him.
Yeah, he needed somebody that was gonna have some danger, some lies, some other foolishness going on.
Well, I mean, he did see his mother, basically, hacked herself off in front of him. So I think that would screw a kid up.
That would screw anybody up, I'm sure.
Probably like only 10 years ago or something, like more than 10 years ago. But for him, he was like 12. He's probably about 24 or so. This is like law school. So let's see here. So how about Annalise slipping the defense? What's his medical records, huh? Like a boss.
That was pretty awesome.
What in the world?
Yeah, because I mean they had to find some kind of loophole because this fool already said that he saw Mahoney outside the hotel. And I'm like, so they had to figure out some way of getting it, and that psych evaluation that was gonna be it. That was our only ticket with it.
Yeah, totally. I hear you there. So we learned a little bit. Okay, well, before I say that, of course, there was that steamy shower scene with Connor and.
See, you forgot him too because he's
Connor and Oliver. This is the first time I get their names wrong. It was nice to see them back together, and that guy Thomas was totally calling him up again. So it's just like, and he's just like, man, he just won't give up, will he? And stuff. But I hear what you're saying about the Thomas guy, that he's like, gave him some time to think about, if you really want to be with this guy. And he's like, yeah, I should give him another chance. But Oliver won't. So he's serving another master. And we learned a little bit about Michaela's mom. You know, I said she's kind of like a mooch a little bit because Michaela said that she'd either call to ask for money or ask me for like lawyer advice. You know, like she would really have a good relationship with her apparently.
Yeah.
But about that.
Yeah, which I mean, we kind of got a little bit of that insight from the previous episodes because she always she never wants to talk about her family, and you know, last episode she told was it Asher? Is that the guy's name?
Yeah,
she told Asher. She's like, you know, she really, you know, kind of feels like she never really had a normal family before, so it's definitely fascinating to see these things unfold.
Yeah, it was. I definitely agree. Was it kind of interesting how Annalise was like, I know about West, like how she knew about West and Laurel's relationship.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, I guess kind of wanting it, but I don't really remember. But yeah, she's like, yeah, I don't care what you guys do. You know, I'm happy for you. You know, which I highly doubt she even really is happy for them. She's just saying that.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Annalise always puts on a face, so it's hard to tell with that fool.
Yeah, you know, you never really know with her.
Yeah.
So we learned that Frank wants revenge, basically, about that Lady Mahoney's lady, if you will. And he ends up being in her house, you know? And we learn that she has a daughter, and Annalise is like, no, Frank, you just stay where you're at. Don't do anything. And Frank's just like, man, I want to do something so badly. I was just in my seat going, please, Frank, don't kill them both. That's so messed up.
Just kill one?
No, I mean, that's pretty bad. Either one you kill, one's going to happen, not the other. I mean, she was like reading to her kid, and Frank's in the other room, like talking to Bonnie, being all quiet and stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, what if she wanted like a drink of water? And oh, there's a shaven man in the bathroom, you know, or wherever he was. That's something you don't want to traumatize your child with. Yeah. And of course, Annalise was thinking about the whole incident with her losing the baby and everything. I mean, every time I see that, it's really just so sad, you know?
It is. And, you know, Frank thought that and I think that Frank, now we're seeing a little bit more of the human side of Frank and why both he and Bonnie really cling to Annalise like a mother type figure. Because he just kept saying to Bonnie on the phone, I don't know if you remember, he's like, you know, this is going to make it right, you know, an eye for an eye, you know, this is what Annalise needs, you know, for closure. You know, this lady was the cause of a lot of different things, and, you know, I got to do this. I got to do this for Annalise. And, you know, when she told him, you know, to back down, to do not do anything, I'm telling you not to do it. But he wanted to do something to make up for that loss, which nothing will ever make up for such a loss. Nothing. And when in her little speech to him, when she was talking to him in the house, and she's like, you know, did you think that killing them was going to bring back my son? Did you think that you watched me for years grieve? He was like, you know, I thought that, you know, after the accident and stuff, and you got home and, you know, you got back to normal. She was like, I never got back to normal. Nothing was ever normal after that. So I saw, you know, I can't speak for you, but I saw a more human side to Frank, to where he was willing to do anything to get back into her good graces, so to speak. And it's really unclear on whether or not that's going to happen.
Yeah, it's definitely unclear. But yeah, I agree with you. I definitely do think that Frank wants to be, you know, her number, I guess, 2, because Bonnie's number 1. You know, he definitely wishes he had that life again, but it's hard to go back to where you used to be.
Yeah, I would definitely say that. And then you see a little bit of jealousy. I saw a little bit of jealousy with Wes, because afterwards she was talking with Wes in the office. I think that was before the briefing. And he's like, you're just going to let Frank go, all willy-nilly. You're going to let him back into the fold. And she's like, I'll let you back into the fold. And he's like, well, he killed your child. And she's like, well, you killed Sam. So that's kind of where I'm starting to see a little bit of a divide with Wes. And maybe Frank coming back into the picture, because now not only is Frank the person that killed his father, dated his girl, killed Annalise's baby, and everybody's going to just let him back and just everything's going to be cool like nothing happened. So I think that may be the tipping point for why maybe Wes switched up like he did. Because now that I'm thinking about it, now I'm looking back at it, I don't think that he's been planning this. It looked very calculated. And was it the last episode we found out that he was the one? Yeah. It looked very calculated. But now, as we're getting a little bit closer to that episode of we find out who gets killed, I think that the turn of events of the last couple of weeks is what changed Wes. I think that's what did it. What is your take on it?
About what now?
About Wes. About Wes in the situation as far as him betraying Annalise.
Yeah, I definitely believe that he has been, and maybe in the back of his mind, probably ever since he killed Sam, he's been thinking about this. Like, why should I go to jail when she's done a lot more than I have? And she's made not my life, everybody else's life, a living hell. So he's fighting for the other guys, even though they really don't care that much for him, besides Asher.
Right.
And Laurel, I mean, even though I don't really count her. But yeah, I do agree. It's not just like, it could have taken more than 1 week to do all that. You know what I mean? Like that's like some like months worth of planning, probably.
But I don't know, bro. I mean, I guess we'll find out next week because.
What do you mean?
As far as him betraying her, I mean, I don't know. I think
he can't just like snap his fingers and be like, can't turn off the switch, like Vampire Diaries. Turn off the switch and I gotta take down Annalise because I feel like it. No, keeps been bubbling up, man.
No, but I believe that he is a part of whatever happened to Annalise's house with the fire and whoever died and blah blah. I think that he had a hand in that. And I won't say that he's been planning it for months, but I definitely think that he had a hand in that to where everything is lining up. Because think about it. I mean, I don't see something like that randomly happening and then him being able to orchestrate this big, we're going to take down, now's the time to take down Annalise. This happened. All right, now we got to take her down. I think he had a hand in it. I don't know how. Maybe it was the text. Go ahead.
Ooh.
What?
Ooh.
No, I'm talking about Wes. I'm saying maybe I'm thinking that he had a hand in what happened to her house being up in flames. I think that he had a hand in that. And the reason why I say that is because anybody could sit up there. I mean, with what happened, right? Person is dead. People got smoke inhalation. Annalise's house is like up in flames, right?
Yeah.
That could not have just randomly happened and then him being able to just, betray her and say whatever it is that he said. That's what my thinking is. Because I feel as though that was properly orchestrated. And maybe it took a couple of weeks. Maybe you're right. Maybe he's been planning this the whole time. But I don't know why he didn't do it before. I don't know.
I don't know either. I guess we're going to find out next week. But we still didn't finish talking about the episode.
Okay, I'm sorry I got off track a little bit. My bad,
So, you see Annalise was at the store and someone almost hit the bottle. You saw her sniffing the drink.
Yeah, she was about to down that drink real good.
No, she decides to just buy like a whole bunch of junk food instead. Snacks. I was like, well, that's better than you losing your license again.
And what else does she buy?
What now?
I said, what else does she buy?
What else did she buy? All I saw was junk food.
Well, she bought a burner phone.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, I have that in here further along.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's a murder phone. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I found it interesting that Frank managed to sneak out of the place, but while he was talking to Bonnie, she told him to go back in there. That Annalise needs this. Wasn't that
Mm-hmm.
pretty? Like, what the heck? The man just got out of there. He can't just go back in there. You know what I mean?
Eh,
But happily, Annalise showed up, so that plan really failed.
yeah, maybe it's that. That's probably a good thing that Annalise showed up when she did, cause.
I'd have this fool thrown in jail again. He was in there for like
Mm-hmm.
13 years, something stupid amount of time.
Yeah, that was
So
crazy.
we get to see Wes's psych evaluation. I mean, she basically coached him on what to say and everything. So,
Yep.
how'd you know how that went? Bees?
Yeah, I mean, I think that that went as well as it could go. I mean, it was pretty much textbook. He passed it. That was the whole mission, is for him to pass it. So he
Uh,
passed, and he was able to testify. So.
so, so Annalise asks Laurel for help, and then Laurel goes over and she asks Nate to help Wes. But of course, Nate was a little suspicious. He was like, "Did Annalise asked you?" And Laurel's like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about."
Mm-hmm.
Like, you gotta lie better, you twit. Yeah, of course, Wes gets to take the stand. I mean, he's a cool and calm and collected. He wasn't really like and I didn't think that was. I mean, that case was pretty interesting, huh?
That was, yeah, that was definitely fascinating how they turned things around. Because I was like, okay, how are they gonna turn this around? Because that prosecutor was pretty confident that they were going to
Mm,
nail Wes. So
yeah.
talk
So,
about that.
I mean, forgot to mention that Annalise did offer to take the president's case, her divorce case.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. Like it's what you're saying. Like she is totally like Annalise's sponsor.
Yeah, and I mean, it's really good to see women stick together as well. That's another good part of it too, because people are always willing to talk about this, that, and the third, or whatever the case is, and they always want to pin women against, especially women of color, against one another. So it was kind of good. That was a nice. Okay, we're gonna pair these together. We're gonna, help each other out. Life is hard enough with everything that's going on. I'm gonna help you out the best that I can. So I really appreciated that.
So before you're mentioning about that burner phone, right? The Annalise got. So we learned that she gave it to Nate, and then Nate gave it to one of the prison guards, and then Frank called that phone from being when he was inside of the lady's house, and they basically set up that lady. That was pretty messed up, don't you think?
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. Because I didn't know how that they were gonna flip that around, and I mean that whole thing. Well, for you guys listening, basically, what happened was when Annalise bought that burner phone, she had gotten Laurel to get Nate to get the phone to Mahoney in jail. And so he worked some magic or whatever, and they got the phone to the guy. They didn't have any note on it, nothing of that nature. And then when the phone got to him or whatever, the phone rang, and it was Frank. Frank, yes. I lost my train of thought. I was like, oh, I forgot his name. I can see his face. I forgot his name. Yeah, so Frank actually called the burner phone from the lady's house, so it would appear that the lady had been calling Mahoney from the house in jail. In which she said initially she had said that she had had no communications with him, she hadn't talked to him or nothing. Well, that was reasonable doubt. That's what that came from. So that was pretty awesome. That was a really good twist. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, me neither. They always bring the uncertainty and they trick us so much on the show. It's not
Oh my
funny.
god. Yeah, that was good. I give him that.
Mm-hmm. So Oliver and Connor have the fight, and Oliver gets that whole like, you're never totally honest with me, and he even called Connor. He said that Connor was emotionally damaged, and that was
Mm-hmm.
basically the last Connor could take. And Connor was like, "Deuces." He left,
Yeah,
and he went on to Taylor. That
I
was
mean,
pretty, yeah.
that was pretty. That was pretty much.
That
I
was
mean, look at this. This guy, he is, because Connor was saying the whole thing. He's like, I thought the whole time that I was the jerk. He's like, look,
mm,
this guy is HIV positive. Any,
mm,
given that there are certain precautions to take, any lack of knowledge of that or precautions not taken, he could easily infect Connor. Connor is risking his life with trying to be with this guy. Like, I mean, he was saddened, he was crying, he was depressed, he was doing all these different things for this guy that he really loved the dude.
mm,
And it was just such a slap in the face and such a cheap shot. And that's when he saw him for who he really was, Oliver for who he really was. And he's like, you know what? This is messed up. You're screwed up. He's like, the whole time I'm sitting up here blaming myself when you're the one that's really messed up. Mm.
mm. And Connor has changed so much from season one.
Yes. Oh my
And
gosh.
he would sleep with any guy that would move, but I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Oliver really changed him. He finally found love, but Oliver just doesn't get it.
Mm-mm.
Oliver is such an idiot.
Oliver is very selfish and self-centered, and I say that
Yeah.
because, like I said, the whole HIV thing, I there's no compromise on that. You need to disclose your status to people. He didn't disclose his status to Thomas. Then he's like, oh, Thomas isn't ready to be with a guy. You didn't give Thomas a choice. You took his choice away from him. When you regretted to when you withheld information. You took his choice away from him. He could have very well been like, "Oh yes, I totally want to date you still," or whatever the case is. But you put him in a situation where his back was up against the wall. What did you think was going to happen? And then you turn and you see Connor. Yes, you see.
Wait, don't do that yet.
No,
Yeah, his
but
name
no,
is
no,
Connor.
but I'm saying no. And then you turn to see Connor, and Connor really, truly, and honestly loves Oliver. He doesn't care about his status. He loves him as a person, and that's really where it's kind of heartbreaking. It's kind of sad because you're just like, wow, he really, truly like loved this guy, like for real, for real. And I won't necessarily say that Oliver doesn't care, but he, like you said, he doesn't get it. He does not get it at all, and he doesn't deserve Connor. That's the next thing I'm saying. Don't
Mm,
deserve him. Mm-mm.
yeah, it's so messed up. So the final thing was Annalise Keaton versus Frank. I don't know what his last name is. Um, I think I'll just let you take that one away because I felt like you were the most passionate about what happened like that. So
I mean,
go ahead and
I
take.
think I kind of touched on it earlier, but
Mm,
she was just basically like, you watched me go through all these years um, of just struggling with that situation. She said, I never got over it. And, he's there, he's crying, and I can like almost like feel his emotion through the TV because I'm like, wow, we've never seen Frank so vulnerable. And he is just so desperate to get that affection back from Annalise. He wants to do whatever. She could say, you know what, go kill off the football team. And he'd go do it. He would willfully go and do it. And it's like a parent talking to a child that's done wrong. And you still love the child, but you're very disappointed in the decisions and the things that they've chose to do. So that was a very emotional scene. And then Frank pulls out a gun and he's like, uh, would this make it better? This will do it. I'll do it. And she's like, yeah, go ahead, do it. Bonnie jumps in the mix and she's like, Frank, no, stop, don't. and and Ellie's like, no, he wants to do it. Go and do it. Do it. I dare you. She's like, her nose is running and all kind of stuff. It's just it's a pretty lit up scene. It's a pretty lit
yeah,
up scene. So,
Especially the parental discretion that showed up like
okay.
5 minutes before it started.
Yeah, that showed up like a couple of times. And I got to say this to everybody listening. Anyone that can hear my voice, that listens to me or watches the show How to Get Away with Murder on ABC prime time. If it is, the show comes on at 10 p.m. EST our time here. At 10 p.m. EST, if you're on the East Coast and you like the show, you should not be watching this with your babies. Okay? You shouldn't be watching it. Granny shouldn't be up trying to keep up with it. Y'all need to go to bed. They shouldn't have to have all these, parental advisory, it's mild, language and innuendos. And no, your butt should be in bed. You should be asleep. All right? And the baby shouldn't be up watching it. This is not a baby show. This show is not for the babies. Okay? It is not for the babies. So, if your babies is up.
Could you imagine if they did that during Luke Cage? They wouldn't be able to have any room for the show.
Oh my gosh. We're going to talk about Luke Cage later. But, yeah.
No,
we're going to because I totally forgot. I totally wanted to mention that and give a shout to Luke Cage.
I thought you wanted to talk about it.
I did want to talk about Luke Cage, but I want to talk about it after we talk about How to Get Away with Murder, okay? We got to give each show its respect. We got to give each show their due respect, and we weren't finished talking about How to Get Away with Murder.
God, it's like one more thing to talk about. It's just a little bit of something.
It's a
whole. 1 week later.
Ciao. Okay, so we find out who's not under the sheet. Do you want to go under that, bro?
Yeah, it's Connor. We find out that he's sleeping with Thomas. Dun, dun, dun.
Mm-hmm. Payback is a beast, boy. Payback. That karma. Woo-wee. That karma, boy.
I think he's better off just not being with Oliver.
I think, I would definitely agree with that. And it's crazy because Oliver is actually worried about him now. Now his conscience killing him. He's thinking that Connor's dead. He's thinking Connor's the one under the sheet. Well, Connor's under the sheet, but not under that one.
Right. But your prediction? You had a pretty good one.
My prediction. Well, first off, I definitely want to say that towards the end, Bonnie's still trying to figure out who the person that betrayed Annalise is. She's still trying to figure that out. And she still, she can't figure it out. She asking them about stuff, and she figured that those three, it's none of them. So it's not Asher, it's not Michaela, it's obviously not Laurel because she's in the hospital. It's not Oliver. But Asher's still unaccounted for. Nobody knows where the hell Asher is. And no one's really heard from Wes from what I could see. So.
Wait a minute. What do you mean they didn't hear from Asher? Remember, Asher was with Michaela.
No, Asher was with Thomas. No. Not Asher. No. Connor is with Thomas. Sorry. After a while, they all look alike. I'm sorry. Look.
With the racism.
It's not racism. I'm just saying they have very similar features.
One has a beard, one doesn't. Is that so hard?
But the names, everybody's name is too similar.
Asher, those names are nowhere close to each other.
But they have R's at the end. It's hard for me to keep up. I'm trying. Please.
You need to work on that.
Anyways, like I was saying, because Connor is not accounted for, and another one that's not accounted for that nobody's really picked up on is Wes, because I didn't see Wes in the afterthoughts after the fire blaze. Besides him talking to the police, I hadn't seen him canoodling with nobody else. Like I said, Laurel's in the hospital. Bonnie's trying to figure stuff out. We haven't seen Frank either. But my prediction, and this is just my prediction, this is just how I'm thinking it may possibly happen, because also Michaela said something that was interesting. She said about the call. She's like, why wasn't I called when Annalise told us to meet at the house? So she wasn't called. Asher, I don't know if he was called or not, or if he got a message or whatever. But, everybody's bombarding Bonnie with all the questions like she knows. And Bonnie actually doesn't know much of nothing. She's trying to piece the puzzle together herself. But my prediction for next week's show is that Nate's going to get killed. I think it's going to be Nate. For some reason, something is telling me that it's Nate because, number one, poor Nate, he done been dropped by Annalise yet again. He done, last season he went to prison for Annalise. I think he going to get killed this time, and it's not on purpose. I think maybe, I don't know what exactly happens, but I think that it was an accident. And I am just playing back in my head the emotion that Annalise showed while during, after the fire had started and they show her the body, and they didn't show us, obviously. I think that it's Nate. Her emotions were just, she was totally and completely unconsolable. I think it's Nate. I think it's Nate. I think she cares for Frank, and she does look at Frank as a kindred spirit, not necessarily son, because she knows Frank, she understands Frank, but I don't think that she would cry like that for Frank. But I will say that Annalise is a pretty good ass actress because she done did some stuff, bro. She did some stuff. Annalise be doing some stuff, and I be like, okay, you was dead wrong for that. You looked them people dead in the face and just lied. This was no reason, just telling us old wives' tale. So she could have been putting on an Oscar performance. But I just did a process of elimination. If Nate was to get killed, it's not going to change up the story too much. It's not Wes because he already betrayed her. I don't think it's Frank because Frank, to me, is too slick to get killed. In my opinion, I think Frank is too smart to get killed. I don't see him getting killed. That's just my interpretation, because who else it could be? Like I said, just scouting the characters and accounting for the ones that are still alive during that time period, I would say that it's Nate. What do you predict?
Yeah, I definitely agree because I don't see Frank getting killed in that in that way. Like, I can't see him getting burnt to death or whatever. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's just stupid for like an assassin like him to get killed like in a stupid way. Oh no, I broke my leg. Oh no, the fire is burning me.
It's so hot. It's so hot in here. No, he's like he's the Italian thug. He's part of the mob. I don't see him getting killed. That's too easy to kill off Frank in a house like that. And
Frank doesn't kills you.
Yeah, the only other person that it could possibly be, which would just be random because you got to think outside the box with this show, because this show always pulls some stuff from the sky, is that it's her ex-girlfriend Eve. Maybe she got to the house by accident.
Hello, man.
Oh yeah. Never mind. Ex-Nate that.
Unless you know something we don't know.
I don't look. I know only what Shonda Rhimes show us on Thursday night at 10 o'clock. That's what I know. I don't know nothing else. Okay, no, you're right. Okay, then I can't think of any other male figures that have been around that we would miss and that she would show so much emotion for. So yeah, I say it's Nate. I don't think that it's Frank. It's too easy to be Frank, in my opinion.
It would be kind of funny if it was that student, the one that hates everybody.
Oh, yeah, that would be so
funny.
About
him, right?
He's another one.
He came to her house for something and he got trapped, and
because
he's he's a really scrawny type, I could see him dying that way. So I felt like he's another one in the running. So I guess that's
he could be a running, yes, because I totally forgot about. And you know what? He had a little snappy. He had a little snappy comeback with Oliver. I don't know if you saw that or not, but when
he was like, what did he say? Like, oh, doesn't it suck not to be a part of the inner circle?
Right, and that looks like that's something that's been eating at Oliver for some time, and I think another reason why he wanted to work for Annalise and all this different stuff. So yeah, he could be, yeah, and he's another one. I wouldn't feel terrible about it, but. If she's putting on...
I'd be happy that the little twerp is gone.
Yeah.
It's so annoying.
Yeah, but she's also got to put on a show.
With Oliver, that's how Oliver is going to get back at him with that guy. If he lives, if he's not dead, that's how Oliver's going to get back at him. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how Peter's gonna do with that relationship with Thomas. Even if it's a relationship, I don't know what it is. Because it's been like at least a week. You know, they said a week later he's still doing the guy. So I don't know how
Yeah.
that works.
Yeah, but I think that more than likely it's gonna be Nate because I look at just in just historical with the show. I would say that Nate is the character who, you know, doesn't add too much to the story. He's kind of a supplemental character. He doesn't do too much. You know, you may see him here and there. You know, his wife is passed. He lost all of his rank as an officer. Like, how embarrassing is that? And then looks like the new chick hooked him up with a job with the DA's office. So now he gets to wear those, you know, those snazzy suits. He looked nice in the suit. Go ahead, was it Billy Brown? Billy Brown,
Yeah,
you
Billy
looking
Brown.
good. Yeah, you looking
Your
good in the
brother,
suit. No, no, no. Let's not do that. Let's not go there.
huh?
But no,
Yeah.
he looks good. He looks good in a suit. But if he were to die, then you know we're not gonna miss him terribly. Oh my God, Nate's dead.
Yeah, like he doesn't even show up most of the time anymore.
Yeah, so I would say that something happens to where he probably tried to go over there and see how Annalise was because he still cares for her. He still loves her. He
Of
does.
course.
He really does. And
Done so much for that woman.
yeah, I think it's something that happens, and maybe for some reason he goes over there and gets caught up in something accidentally, and he
No,
go
it's
bye
another
bye.
punk way for him to die. I mean, just any guy dies like that. It's like, man, that sucks. So that's why I really hope it's the scrawny dude. Because like, I totally could see that happening to him. But I mean, this fool's a freaking, like, officer. What are you doing getting killed that way?
Yeah, well, you know, I don't know, bro. Anything's possible. I mean, he just because he was an officer doesn't mean he couldn't get killed. You know, because
Oh, yeah,
look
please,
at Frank.
immortal.
But look at Frank. Frank is street smart and knows the in and outs of stuff. Frank's pretty smooth. I don't know if Nate's as smooth to get through things. You know, he can get information like a mug, but I don't know if he's smooth to play things off and to not get killed.
That's true.
so, so those are our predictions for next week's show. That's the quote unquote winter finale. I never understood this role where all of a sudden, maybe in the last, 2, 3 years, everybody wants to give these titles. Oh, it's the winter finale of this and the winter finale of that. It was never talked about before.
Yeah, I mean, all they're doing is they're splitting up episodes. Like, you know, they play maybe 1 through 6 here, and then the winter finale, and then the rest of the season. They're splitting up seasons in half, is what they're doing, and they just want to give the actors, I guess, time to, you know, live their lives and be with their families.
But
You know,
but
but I personally want them to be working every day for the rest of their lives, but that's not going to happen because you know they're still people. You know. So
my thing
I don't
about
know
it.
what started this whole winter finale foolishness.
But I mean, these
But
are not break. They're just to me, they're just putting up a fancy title of winter finale because these are breaks that would have happened anyways. Everybody knows that during Christmas time and all these different things when the holidays start, you're not going to get any new shows. So I just feel like they just trying to figure out another fancy way of saying that no more new shows till next year, basically.
What's your problem with it?
I don't have a problem. I just I don't have.
You brought it up. You got an issue with it.
I do not have a problem with
You
it.
do. I don't know why you don't like winter finales and whatnot. It pisses you off. Just
It
admit
doesn't piss me off. I just want to know who decided that they were gonna start to use the phrase. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm
I don't know why it's such a big deal.
It's not a big deal.
It is a big deal.
It's not a big deal. I'm just wondering who started that and why.
Probably look it up. You got a computer, don't you? And a phone.
You know what you. Before we end.
I'll play nice.
Yeah. We'll see who play nice.
Why don't you do some bacon pancakes?
Anyways, that is our conclusion of How to Get Away with Murder. No More Blood. And I think they titled this one No More Blood because that's what Annalise told Frank when he was about to kill the lady. She was like, no more blood. It's just, just let it go. Let it go.
There's already been enough blood.
Right. There's already been enough blood. So, okay, we're going to completely jump off of that. And I have to give a shout to a show that I am totally and completely in love with. I am a Luke Cage fan. I love Luke Cage, y'all. Oh my goodness. I am loving some Luke Cage. Oh my gosh. So Ro totally got me hooked onto this show. And it's just amazing. It's just totally amazing. I just love it. I love me some Luke Cage. It's amazing.
Oh boy.
So I'm totally about Luke Cage and this show. So we have, like, I just finished the season, and we have to do a recap on Luke Cage. We have to. There's no way we cannot do it. All right.
I mean, there's a way that we can't do it, but I mean, we can do it, seeing as how you're going a little crazy over here.
I love some Luke Cage. I really do. So Mike Colter plays what?
What?
Mike.
I'll just take his name in case you didn't get it right.
Mike Colter.
Yeah.
Yeah, say it right. Give me some goodness.
No.
Yes, Mike Colter plays Luke Cage, and he's just awesome. You know, you just let's him some extra chocolate on the screen. You know what I'm saying? Just put a smile on your face. He's a nice, just tall. You know, 6'3". You know what I'm saying? And he look nice. Look nice. So
I mean, there's nothing but chocolate in this series. So.
Yeah, it's a couple of off-white specks, but
caramel and whatnot.
But he does a phenomenal job as Luke Cage, and I just really, I really love the story, and it just keeps you wanting for more. And I haven't really been hooked on a show like this in a while. Like, I'm not a big comics person. I didn't really honestly know about Luke Cage prior to this. So,
which is a shame, everybody. A big doggone shame.
Look, we're not going to go into specifics, okay? Not going to go there. Not going to deal with it.
Hey, Ash, did you know that Nicolas Cage took his last name from Luke Cage?
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
He's like a big fan. So.
Cool. So, but yeah, Luke Cage is pretty awesome. If you guys have Netflix, you need to be tuned to Luke Cage because it is thebomb.com.
It's Marvel's Luke Cage, everybody, in case you're wondering.
Yes, Marvel's Luke Cage. Y'all jump off into it. It's really, really good. Like, I'm really, really loving some Luke Cage.
Yeah.
So.
Now, if only I could get her into Daredevil and Jessica Jones, then we'd really have it popping up in here. Mm-hmm. Those are all Marvel TV shows, but somebody only cares about Luke Cage. She's like, oh man, when's it gonna be another season? Next year, but I want it now. Like Veruca, but Daddy, I want it now. That's exactly how she sounded like.
I just want my Luke Cage. That's it.
Veruca, did you have something else to say?
You're terrible. You're absolutely horrible. Anyways, I hope that you guys enjoyed the show. If you've got questions, comments, concerns for your girl, you can email me anytime, info@ashsaidit.com. That is info@ashsaidit.com, babies. Ro, any last words?
Yes, I just want to say happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there. Thank you for serving and keeping our country safe. Yay!
Absolutely. So I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Remember, follow your heart, follow your dream. Don't listen to anyone else. People are always going to try to talk you out of your purpose. Don't give them the benefit of the doubt, all right? ashsaidit.com, ashsaidit.com. That's the site. Go check it right now. We got blog features every day. We got multiple blog features on multiple days. So go and check that out. I love y'all to pieces. Kisses, kisses, kisses all across the world. Keep doing what you do in a major, major, and massive way. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Deuces. Deuces, deuces.